Okay, world. So we're back with another video for the arcade. What we're getting ready to do now is throwing this actual Pandora's box into that unit. It's going to be the first actual base piece of the machine. We're going to go real far with this, so keep watching more videos. You're going to see something else new. So if you can, keep watching, because I keep getting new ideas every time I finish something. So every time you come and check out one of these videos, there's going to be something new and dope added into the arcade. So I want this to eventually be the all-in-one machine. So here we go. We're getting ready to pop open this package to see what we got. So what we're getting ready to open up now is getting ready to be our home 28-pin Jamma arcade board. Maybe a 32-pin. I'm not sure off the top of my head. This is getting ready to be our home Jamma Pandora's arcade box by BLEE. So here she goes. This is our Pandora Saga 14 3D. So this right here is gonna come with, I believe, on the top of my head, 3,990 games on this particular board right here. It's gonna be majority of your arcade games from the mid 80s all the way up to like the beginning of the 2000s. And when you build your own home arcade, at the end of the day, you're still going to need something to run all your games. You can go anywhere from a Raspberry Pi to a PC to a video game system, pretty much whatever you want. At the end of the day, whatever route you take, you're gonna have to do things like maybe configure your buttons, map where your games are, mod your systems. There's a lot of other things you're gonna have to think about what you're gonna do when it comes to building your own home arcade. So by actually going ahead and getting this right here, there's a lot of kings in the arcade. Excuse me. Capcom, Konami, a lot of them. But SNK, and this right here is going to pretty much contain most of those games, at least the ones that they are legally allowed to keep on there. So we got that right there, our Pandora Saga, and we're getting ready to go throw it into our unit. Now after you plug this into your Jamma board in your arcade, on the other side over here is where you're gonna have your headphone jack, you're gonna have your HDMI port, your power supply. This is all gonna be depending on how you wanna hook it up to your system. Like if you wanna hook this up to your TV, you can use that power adapter right there, and you could just use that HDMI and PC input. But then what you're gonna have to do is wind up getting you a PC board or an encoder that's gonna plug up into this side, and then that's what's gonna run your controllers. So there's many different ways you can actually use these Pandora boxes, and there's many different versions you can actually get a Pandora's box in. So if you're looking into building your own home arcade, or you really want a home arcade, start off by looking into a Pandora Saga. You can also go with the Raspberry Pi, but if you're not that computer inclined, if you really don't know how to work your way around a computer a lot, I really wouldn't recommend that you go with the Raspberry Pi when it comes to building your own arcade. It could be a good project for you if it's something you really want to get into, but if you really don't know what you're doing, you might get a little frustrated starting off. So Pandora's box, we're going to go over to the unit, pop her in, make sure she's all good. So we're back in the arcade now. We're going to go ahead and throw an HDMI up in the back of that. I wanted to actually use a PC connection, but I don't have one right now. So we're going to throw the HDMI up in there, come down here to the bottom, and we're going to wind up throwing in our BLE Pandora's box. I'm going to set it down there. Show the focus a little bit better. Got to keep working on this focus with y'all, because this thing is so bright, so it's going to keep making everything over there very dark. So when you get down here, you're going to have a connection. It's going to be my 28-pin. Whenever you're messing with the Pandora's box, you're not messing with, whenever you're hooking up a Pandora's box, one thing you want to make sure that you're not doing is plugging this in backwards. If you plug this in backwards and you hook it up into your board, what you're going to wind up doing is automatically just frying this straight out the door. Now these connections will go in either way on most boards. On my particular one, there's a stop pin in there. And normally you can plug this in this way, or you can flip it around and you can plug it in this way. And if you do that and you turn it on and it's backwards, you instantly fry this right here. Possibly even damage your amplifier. But we're gonna plug this in now. Make sure I'm doing it right, my pin. It's pretty much what all of your arcades are gonna be running off of, is something very similar to an older version of this. I'm gonna wind up just bolting that to the side of the cab. And take my HDMI cable in right here and plug my HDMI in. I'm not gonna need the power supply because this is getting its power from that. There's my volume, that's my setting, and that's my USB board. So we're gonna go ahead to the front now, turn her on, and cross our fingers that everything on this machine is working, or as much as we can get to work is working. I have a couple loose connections that I don't know where to plug them up to. I was looking around it for a while, but this is my coin selector. And there's supposed to be a slot on here for me to actually plug in my coin acceptor, but I cannot find it. And I'm not splicing any wires right now, so we're just gonna run all this pretty much basically the way it is. All right, so we're in front of the unit. This is the moment of truth. Here we go. Cross our fingers. No, we just gotta still see what is working and what's not working, so let's go. So here you go, the Pandora Saga 14. This is what I wind up finishing up this arcade unit with. But we just ran into an issue, again, people. So I can't go over a full review for this. I recommend this to anybody else for a beginner's unit for the price and the things that you can do with it. But if you check a lot of the videos on my page, I keep having the same constant issue. And the issue is with my controller. So again, we finished this unit just now, but the controls aren't working. So I took the glass out and everything because I had to open up my control panel. But this is an example of what you're gonna get with some of the games that come on this unit right here. And this is right here, we're in the PlayStation 1 section. So this is gonna be majority of the games from your PlayStation 1. Now we're entering into the Dreamcast section. So right now we're getting ready to run into all the Dreamcast games that's gonna be on this unit. This right here is one of my favorite Dreamcast games ever. And the best thing about this Pandora's Box version is it's gonna have pretty much majority of all the classics that you was looking for that you was playing when you was a kid. Especially if you was born in the early 80s, maybe early 90s. We'll see, I don't know. I don't think the 90s babies really like the arcade as much as we do, but now we're in the Nintendo 64 section. This is going to be the games that it has for Nintendo 64. And what I'm using right now is I'm using the second player controller. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Arrow gauge, I believe, is what we're going to be calling F-Zero. I'm not sure, but I believe that would be F-Zero. In Japan and in America, there were certain games that just had to be named and had to be licensed different. So some games by the title, you'll notice it'll be something different. Mario Kart 64.
And again, this system has 8,000 games on it. 6,000, I apologize, 6,000. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but that's Nintendo 64. I just passed up all the SNKs. This is the main section. But yeah, that's a good idea of what they have. Like I'm saying, I can't really do too much testing. This does have Wi-Fi, but I can't even get to all the menus that I want to get to just because the controllers aren't working. Let's get an idea of what one of the games look like. Street Fighter 3 Second Impact. All I can do right now is just show you what it looks like because again, there's no buttons working on this particular side right here. I wish there were, but pushing everything, nothing's working. And if I was to go to the other side, the strange thing that's going on is those buttons work, but then no controls work. She's sounding pretty great, but like I said, I can punch. Oh, I can't even punch no more. I used to be able to punch. Well, for some reason my buttons aren't even working. Again, that's not the Pandora's box, that's my unit. So again, this is just a section of what's going on right now. We'll be back again, a whole nother unit. So at the end of the day, of course, y'all know what this is from. When we looked at this from the very beginning, when we was clearing up this board, when we was talking about everything down here, I was hoping that there was somewhere that these buttons and everything would have been saved. But from whatever was spilled down here, this whole side, I couldn't get to work. So what we wound up doing was, put my glass down. I even connected an extra controller from the videos that I took out from the Raspberry Pi unit downstairs, and it doesn't work in here at all. So when we had the issue with the Raspberry Pi, the only thing was that we couldn't get it to go direction. Here it's not going anywhere. And of course you already saw that wasn't nothing happening with the Sanwa control either. And on top of nothing happened with the Sanwa control, none of these buttons were actually fully registered. I'm sorry. The 3 punch buttons were registering over here, but none of my buttons on the bottom were registered. So what we're getting ready to do now is just take each one off one by one and see if maybe they wired one up wrong somehow, or if it is just the fact that these are completely shot. So that's what I'm getting ready to be doing off camera right now. I'm not going to do too much down on camera. I'm a little disappointed. I'm not going to lie to you. I really wanted this to just be up, running, and working. It's not the end of the world though. It's just some more work that needs to be done. I've already took a couple wires out because as you see, it was pretty bad in here. And I was getting ready to just rewire this whole thing. But if you want to know what this looks like, I'm going to show you what it looks like in a second. This is a lot of damn wiring. It's going to take me more than a day or about a day. I don't feel like I want to do this right now because I got about 8 more other projects going. But that's where we stand at. The problem with our controls right now, so we're going to work on these and we're going to go from there.